Hey everyone, it's Synth Designer back again with another episode of Synthwave Essentials. Today I'm going to take you through how I come up with synthwave songs and some of the methods I use to create these songs. So we're going to talk about some of the sound design elements, but also just how to create the songs and kind of the steps to take to get to a complete song. Now, we're not going to finish a song today, but I'm going to show you the essential parts of kind of a synthwave song, and then hopefully you can take these lessons and then create your own music. A lot of the sounds today will be from my Synthwave Essentials preset packs. I will be using Serum and Vital, and if you haven't already checked them out, go to synthdesigner.com. You could download them for absolutely nothing. No signups required. And there's over 100 and something different sounds, I forget exactly, but they should help you write any types of synthwave music using Serum or Vital. So we're going to just look at some of the essential steps and then hopefully get somewhere with kind of a framework of a song. And then using that framework, you could really get very far. So you only need maybe 5-6 different main parts, and then after that you just build off of it with kind of like ear candy, accents, little fills, etc. So I'm going to start by explaining kind of the parts, and then we're going to get right into it. So the parts I'm going to create today are the bass, chords, arp, drums, and kind of an Atmo type of thing, pad, drone. We'll see where we get. So I have no kind of agenda here in terms of going in a certain direction. I'm just going to kind of wing it. And I'm going to show you that just by winging it, I bet we could get pretty far. So let's get started. One of the easiest ways to start a synthwave song for me personally is with the bass. Basses in synthwave are pretty standard. Very common, you'll hear this kind of bass. Or some sort of variation of that. And that's what we're going to start with. The reason I like starting with bass is it gives us the root notes for our chords that we'll use later on. Once you have the root notes, then you can form chords and you can really get into kind of the meat of the song. So let's quickly get into a bass. I'm going to create a little bass line here, and we're not really going to get into the theory too much, but you can play around with anything. Just try things and see how they sound. If you do know theory, kind of like, let's say a 1-6-3-5 pattern, something like that, then go ahead and use that. But if you don't know theory, you really can just try things out. So let's open up our piano roll. I have this really simple bass. It's not even a preset of mine. It's just kind of a square and a saw. And we can adjust it later on. One of the important things is you don't need perfect sounds to start. Oftentimes sounds can kind of inspire us to start something, but if we have a general idea of what the sound should sound like, then we can just go ahead with that. I wanted a plucky bass and I got one. So let's get into it. Let's start with, E. Okay, we have our E pattern here. So we're going to do, let's say, a 4-bar pattern. Let's move it to, say, C. It's sounding pretty dark. Let's try a B or an A afterwards. Then, okay, that kind of flows together. Let's think about a note that would work after that. Dun, 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 dun. So it kind of goes down to a few steps. Let's see about maybe a D. Let's just guess it. Yeah, that works okay. Let's try maybe a B. Let's pick it up from here. Okay, that's not bad. Now, I'm not loving this preset, to be honest, but I have the pattern already. So that puts us ahead of the game already. We have the pattern. Who cares what exactly this preset sounds like? We want a plucky bass. I have others. We'll pick out something different later. Let's not get worried about that. Let's continue with the flow. Okay, so we have our bass line here. What I'd like to do next, copy this bass line, Control C, move on to the next pattern. Let's open up another instance of Serum here. Pattern 2, go to the piano roll, copy and paste our bass line here. We have a completely new instance of Serum. So what we're going to do is form chords. So this is our next step, essentially. Let's Control G. Now we have a sustain note because chords are going to be some sort of pad probably. So let's sustain these. Right away, what we can do is move these up 7 semitones or 5 steps. And that's going to give us the basis for major or minor chords. So we're going to play around with that. Again, we're not going to use theory. We're just going to use our ears to see what it sounds like. So let's form this sound here. So first of all, we're going to have to put pattern 1 here into our arrangement. Let's just arrange it here quickly. Put 4 of these. And then let's go pattern 2 here. Arrange this. This is going to be a basic saw wave here, so it's going to be loud and annoying. So we're going to pick something right away and just play around. Let's go into Synthwave Essentials 3 and check out some pad sounds. What sounds cool? That's pretty cool. I don't know if I want that kind of sound yet. I want something a little bit maybe more sustained. Okay, let's stick with that and see how this all sounds together for now. Okay, interesting. So we don't have the major or minor flair to it. That's what we're going to add next. So we're going to just copy these, take this note out, and then what we're going to do is let's just start by moving it, and then let's make it a minor and see how that sounds. This will have to be moved up because it doesn't sound good. So this will be a major. Okay, I'm not loving either of these presets, but we have the basis of the song here. So why don't we find a better bass line? Actually, let's start with the chords maybe. I'm not loving this pad right now. It's filling up a lot of space, but it's very, very heavy. That's even heavier. This is kind of interesting. I feel like that complements that bass a little bit better. So let's maybe find a little bit different bass, something a little bit, I don't know, more polished. Let's go to Bass of Basses in my Synthwave Essentials Volume 1. So now what do we have? Now we have a bass that's really heavy with the saw waves, and we have a pad that's based on saw waves. When you have those two together, they're going to be competing with each other. Saw waves are really heavy on the upper harmonics, so they're going to be competing in the same frequency range. So now we have to think about, do we want that? We're going to have to move that around a lot. And a big thing about mixing is you could do a lot of your mixing and heavy work before you even start mixing, and that's through better sound selection. So why don't we think about, do we want to change this, the bass that's heavy on the saw waves, or the synth that's heavy? I'm going to stick with the bass for now, and then I can return to any of these. So let's mess around and maybe go to volume 2 and check the pads there. Okay, we kind of run into a similar issue, but I'm going to kind of play around here. As you can see, I opened up some of the space for the bass by taking out some of the lows, and what I'm going to do with the bass here is take out some of the highs. So I'm going to turn this down a little bit, or I'm going to play with it and see if they can make space for each other. Okay, I think that works pretty well so far. So let's put these into just our mixer rack and kind of even them out a little bit. What I did here was take out even more of the highs by changing it to a low pass 18, and that just makes a steeper slope here. So I think that's kind of working together. We'll have to think about it a little bit more later, but let's not get out of the flow here. So we have a basic chord pattern here, and we have the bass. I think right now, before moving on, I'm gonna just mess around a little bit more with these chords, maybe make them a little fuller, maybe a little bit more interesting, and then maybe even a little higher. Let's try that. Let's move them up a frequency. That oftentimes can also help things out, but we're gonna have to see how it sounds. Yeah, I think that's sitting a little bit better. The other thing we can do is maybe try 7th chords. So if you're not familiar with 7th chords, it's not really important about the theory, but it kind of adds a little bit of a jazzy feel to them. Let's try these out, make sure that they're in the proper key, and see how they sound. Okay, I think we're getting somewhere very interesting already. We can play around a little bit with the voicing as well. Maybe add some lower notes just to fill out some of the space. So we're gonna move the root note down an octave as well here. I'm just gonna move this down all the way. And to fill them out even more, you can add maybe add the 3rd in here. So here we go. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with the chords so far. So let's move on to the next step. What I like to do oftentimes after chords is set up some sort of arps. So let's see if we can find some sort of nice arp sound. Let's try Vital here. See if we can find anything. Usually with arps, you'll want something plucky. You don't necessarily need something perfect to start. The easiest way to set up arps, I find, is to get your basic chord. So say you have major, minor, minor seventh, major seventh, etc. Copy and paste those, and then play around with kind of the arpeggiator you have in your DAW. So I'm going to do that. So let's go to this pattern here. I'm going to Control C, go into Vital. Let's try Vital. I have my Synthwave Essentials here as well. So we're going to try to pick a sound here that could maybe work as an ARP. Let's find Synthwave Essentials here. Again, you could download this for free. Let's try a lead here and see if we can find something that's kind of plucky. That's probably going to fill out a little bit too much space. This classic lead might work. Why don't we try it out? So the easiest way to create ARPs as we Control V is just to use the arpeggiator. There's a lot of ways of making ARPs, but this is just the easiest way. And in FL Studio, you just take your chords, click Alt-A, and then you have this arpeggiator make essentially a whole new arpeggio for you. As you can see here, these two chords are going to be similar because they use a lot of the same notes, and it's not going to be perfect. We can move the notes around later. So let's just listen to it now, and then we can decide if we like the sound of it. I like the pluckiness of it, and I like kind of it has a little bit less attack, and it's going to stand out, I think. The only thing is I do not like how this is the exact same, so I'm going to maybe move this note here or this one. I'm not sure yet. Let's go from here. Okay, I'm not quite sure if that's the note we used. Let's go back for a second into Serum and Pattern 2. Okay, we had the A versus a B here, and that's why. So we're going to have to decide here, do we want these basses here? So the root here is the A. I may change that to an A. Let's just go back here into Pattern 3. So we have the G here. Maybe we move this to a lower A. Okay. Let's move this note up here. This note up here. I think we have something here. So what we're going to do, put this into our arrangement again, and let's listen all together. Now, again, we're going to have to mix as we go as well. Like some of these are going to clash a little bit, but it's about finding a general sense for now. So let's hear it. Okay, cool. I like it. So we have 3 things set up here, and what did we do? We had the basis being the bass. All we did was pick 4 notes, lined it up, formed chords from there, and the chords created our ARPs. This is the basis of our song here. Again, we're just getting started, obviously, but we have something going here and we can move forward. The next step I like to think about is the drums. Again, in Synthwave, simple is best. Now, there's a few ways to think about drums, and I'm just going to do the very basic pattern here of just the kick snare combo. So an important part about Synthwave drums is picking out good samples. So there's a couple places I got my samples. First, there are some okay ones from the FL Studio stock settings. I don't usually use them, but you can if you're in a pinch. What you want to think about synthwave drums is kind of the old school sounds. You don't want like hip hop type of drums. You don't want drums that are kind of acoustic sounding, obviously. Don't want something from trance music. You want something like a good old fashioned 80s drum machine or something similar. So there's a few places. I'm going to just plug someone quickly. Synthwave Dojo has some great drum samples for free, I believe, on his website. And the other place I like to get them from is through Splice. Splice has so many different ones. Unfortunately, they're not free. But if you look hard enough, I'm sure you'll be able to find something similar. I'm just going to go through them and then think about what works. The best way to do that is to just play the pattern and then just go through your drum samples and see what you like. So we can go quickly through here. This might work. Like this, for example, I don't see working because it's really kind of hip hop focused or dance music focused. This is really hip hop focused. I don't think that would work. This might work, but let's play it in context and see if we could pick out a drum sample. I like these types of sounds. Enough of an upper end, enough of a click, and not too much low end. You can layer them as well. We're gonna keep it simple. This is the Lindrum setting, so of course this is based on the famous Lindrum package that you can find basically everywhere. So we're gonna use this and see how that works. So let's put that in, and a basic 4 on the floor kick is going to work here. And we're going to start with a basic 4 on the floor here, and then we're going to move into something more interesting in this next section. So let's play the song, hear how it sounds. I like it. Obviously, we're going to have to mix that in later, but it's something to start with. Again, don't get too caught up in the exact sound. Obviously, this is going to need to be mixed. If you get too caught up into thinking about, hey, this is not sounding perfect, then you're going to ruin your workflow. So let's keep the workflow going here. Now we need a snare. Again, so many different types. Think about those big snares you hear, that gated reverb. And a lot of these are already kind of processed, but let's hear them. This might work. Let's play it again. I like that one. It's already called snare synthwave body, so pretty obvious that will work. What we're going to do is create another unique pattern here. So let's make unique. Pattern 5, and we're going to add some snare to it. So let's copy this one in here, and we have something a little bit different. So let's put this in, and then right away we're going to put this in because we're going to switch up and add some shakers or hats, not quite sure yet, and then we're going to put that in for the rest of this song here. So let's just see how this sounds. Actually, let's just go ahead and make our start from here, and then we're going to add some hi-hats here. So let's just hear how it sounds. Cool. Let's go to the hat section, see what works. Go pattern set. Let's make it a little bit more interesting. Maybe change the velocity a little bit. Let's just do a quick 1 2 1 2, kind of make it more interesting. See how that works. Or just emphasize the first hits. Now let's go with that. Do we like this hi-hat is the question. I kind of like this a little bit more. We'll turn it down. Okay. So now we have 3 distinct patterns for drums, and we have 4 distinct sections of a song. We're very close to kind of having a full body of a song. Last thing I like to think about is having a little bit of more of an atmosphere, and to do that, it's kind of like a drone atmosphere type of thing that I like to add. So what we'll do is open up a new instance or a new pattern. Let's go again to our plugin database, get another instance of Serum. And again, you don't have to use Serum. You don't have to use these presets. This is just kind of easy overview I'm trying to give you here. So let's plug in this pattern right away into our arrangement. And what we're going to do is think about kind of a sustained note. So what was our root note? What was our key? It was an E. So we're going to pick out E here. And we're going to extend it here for, let's say, 8 bars. Now, a drone could be made in a couple different ways. What we're going to do is just make it in the simplest way possible. And what we want it to be is a very airy sound that kind of just complements the chords and the bass here. We don't want it taking up too much of our focus because it's really meant to be in the background. So let's just take a simple wavetable here, something not as harsh as a regular saw. Let's take this saw wave maybe. Let's just add some voices of unison, turn the detune down. What we're going to do is add some reverb and delay, and what we're going to do is crank it up until we find something we like. And then we're going to mix it in properly. So we already have it in our pattern, and we're going to play it, and then we're going to listen. So you can hear in the background. Let's filter out those highs. Can we hear it? Maybe add some chorus to it. Let's play in context. You could hear it just in the background there. So it adds just a little bit of ambience to it and something interesting. So at this point, we have the basis of our song, and we have the ability to kind of create things going from there. Now, I'm not going to continue on with this. It could go on forever, basically. I just wanted to give you kind of an idea of what you could do to create and start a synthwave song. So remember, I like to start with a bass, because it really adds the foundation really quickly. Then you could go on to the chords and to the arps right away. Add some basic drums, add some atmosphere. After that, it's about adding your transitions, how to arrange the song, stuff like that. Now, let me know in the comments if you want me to continue this song, if you want me to kind of show you what's the next step in the process, and anything else. Like if you want me to show you how to arrange a full song, then I could do that. I've shown you how I arrange kind of my other songs. If you haven't seen those, go ahead and check those out. I've done a couple songs already. So hopefully you're kind of getting an understanding of how to start a song and how simple it could be. Remember, you could go ahead and just download these presets off of synthdesigner.com for absolutely free. No signups required. And I'll see you next time.